360 Wellness, I'm your host, Andrea Barrett, and this week is Nursing Week, held every year in May to coincide with the birthday of Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing. Our nurses are overworked and underpaid and essential frontline workers, and I personally want to thank you. The World Health Organization has proclaimed 2021 as the International Year of Health and Care Workers, and to express their gratitude for their unwavering dedication and the fight against COVID-19. I also want to express my gratitude to all of the great nurses, RPNs, RNs, and PSWs out there. Aunt Lynn, Aunt Josie, Aunt May, Cousin Karen, Cousin Tashani, Aunt Sandra, Jill, Mom, you are the RNs, the RPNs, and the PSWs in my immediate family. I thank you and am grateful for all the hard work that you're doing. Join us at 360 Wellness. On last week's show, we talked about mental health, and I reminded everyone, if you're a young person in need or in a crisis, please reach out to the Kids Helpline. We also want to thank and appreciate all the great work that the Canadian Mental Health Association does. If you're going through any distress, you need someone to talk to, you're looking for some support, I encourage you to reach out to the Canadian Mental Health Association. So last week, we talked about nurses. Last week, we talked about mental health. This week, we're talking about nurses and the medical system. Our very first guest today is Amanda Thomas. She is a student and future surgeon. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Andrea. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So tell us, you're a future surgeon. Why do you want to get into the medical profession?
I want to get into the profession because of my experience with my doctors. I've been fortunate enough to have amazing doctors growing up. I'm an immigrant to Canada, so I grew up in Jamaica, and people in Jamaica and in the diaspora, they know that healthcare in Jamaica, access to healthcare is not the norm for everybody. If your parents don't have an insurance plan, or your parents aren't able to afford one, then healthcare is not readily accessible to you. So because my parents had good jobs and they were able to afford insurance outside of what the government provides, I was fortunate to have amazing doctors, pediatricians, a GP, a general practitioner, a dentist, a dental surgeon, and all of the doctors that I've interacted with were great. I don't know if they were great because, it was a paid service or not, but they never made me feel like my questions were invalid or I was a burden. And I would like to be that to somebody else, because I know that some doctors treat public service as just that, public service, and there's no empathy or compassion for their patients. So I would like to, give back to my community in that capacity.
I love that. So my family also comes from Jamaica, so I can understand when you say that not healthcare is not something that everyone has in every country around the world. So when it's something that your province or your country provides, we are grateful and thankful for everything that we have here. So can you give me an example of one of the doctors that you've experienced either in Jamaica or here that you see yourself modeling yourself after?
Yes, I know exactly who to talk about. I was her third patient when she opened her private practice, and now she is a lecturer at the University Hospital of the West Indies, Mona. Dr. Tanya Melbourne Chambers. I love her very much. She's very dear to me. She watched me literally grow up, and it's so inspiring to see all the work that she has done from then till now. She came to Canada to study, and then she went back home to practice. And she's just a wonderful human being outside of her being a doctor, I saw her at an event when I was going to school back in Jamaica, and she saw me. My back was turned to her, and she said, Amanda, what are you doing here? And I was like, Dr. Melbourne, what are you doing here? And we had a good chat and we catched up, and everybody, my classmates were like, Amanda, why do you know everybody? But it's not that I know everybody. It's just that we happen to be at the same place at the same time. And because we have a good relationship, she didn't just ignore me. She said hello and we had a good chat. And when I go back home, I'll go visit her.
Good. That sounds great. Okay, take us through your educational background. So, and we want to hear it from Jamaica to where you're going to school here in Canada and where you want to go to become the next surgeon.
So I started at what, 4 or 5. I started grade 1 at 5 in Jamaica at the Kingsway Prep School. And then in Jamaica, we start high school in grade 7. So in grade 7, I went to St. Hugh's High School for girls. And then I came here at the end of grade 13 in Jamaica, or halfway between the end of grade 13 in Jamaica. And then I came here in December 2017, and I started school here in Canada at Albert Campbell Collegiate. That's in Scarborough as
Mm-hmm.
well. I started Albert Campbell in 2018, February 2018, and I graduated in 2019, a year later. And then I started Ontario Tech University in 2020. I had to defer my admission because of some immigration stuff, but that's all sorted out. So now I'm a student at Ontario Tech University doing a Bachelor's of Science in Health Sciences.
Okay, good. So you're in your first year at
First
doing your
year.
bachelor's of science. So where do you want to study medicine?
I want to study medicine, hopefully at John Hopkins, since I want to become a pediatric surgeon.
Good.
I'm thinking maybe I'll go to an HBCU, that's historically Black college or university, just for the experience of going to a school where, Black people fought for the right to learn. That would be cool. So I'm not sure, either at an HBCU or John Hopkins, whichever one the Lord decides, I guess that's where I'll go.
Okay, good answer. So, Amanda, we're going through school during a pandemic. How has the transition to taking classes online been for you? How was the whole being a student during the pandemic? What's that experience been like? How are you coping?
I thought online school at home would be good, a
Yeah.
breeze. I'm not traveling every day. I get to wake up whenever, I get to go to sleep whenever. That's a lie. That's a complete and utter lie. Online school, it was really difficult. And that's because you're managing your time at home, and at home you're comfortable. There is not an urgency to get anything done because this is your comfort place. This is the place where you de-stress and you relax. So finding that balance between it's time for schoolwork and it's time to sleep was very hard, especially in my first semester, making sure that I'm on top of my assignments, because it will be Monday and you blink and it's Friday and you're like, where did the time go? So that was a struggle because every day in the pandemic felt like the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping on top of your days and making sure that your assignments are done when they're supposed to be done, that was hard. And that was something I tried to do better at in my second semester. I was a little bit more successful, so I'm grateful for that. But overall, it was a challenge being in the same environment all the time. You're
Mm-hmm.
sitting for hours, you're in this sedentary position for hours upon hours.
Mm-hmm.
And worse, the last semester was winter semester, so I'm not going outside. I can't go for a walk readily because it's cold out, and if I want to go outside I'd have to layer up, and I wasn't trying to do all of that. So most of my time was spent inside. How did I cope? Honestly, I don't know. Because I had days where I literally just wanted to cry all the time because I felt like the weeks are just running off. And was I really learning anything, or was I just regurgitating information because I had a quiz or a test to do? I don't know. Hopefully, when next semester comes and I'm given work to do, I'm like, oh, I know what this is because I've built on this information from last year. So it was hard. I know other students can relate to the pandemic being an added stress in learning coursework. So hopefully in the fall, we can go back for a few classes. I'm not sure, but I don't know if I can manage another full year of online school.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate your honesty. In school, do they teach or cover anything about time management or how to deal with stress and anxiety?
Um, they don't do a good job of time management. They talk about, oh, students, you need to manage your time. But in my opinion, I don't think, and it's not just Canada, it's Jamaica as well, because I've been in two school systems. I don't think they do an adequate job of really giving students the tools they need to properly manage time, because every professor and every teacher's work is important. Okay, yeah, we know that your
Yeah.
work is important, chemistry is important, English is important, everything is important. However, because all of you are so demanding, are you really giving students the help they need in managing their time? Are you flexible
Yeah.
to say that, okay, we know that you have this to do and that to do, so I am giving you this leeway time for you to hand in your work. I'm grateful that two of my professors last academic year, were really keen on that. So we had a module quiz that was supposed to be due on Thursdays, and she extended the availability for the whole weekend until 11:59 on a Sunday. He's like, okay, guys, I know you have whatever to do. So here is this extra time for you to complete the quiz. So you get more time to prepare, and it's just 15 questions. So whenever you do it, that's fine. Just do it before Sunday at 11:59. And I appreciated that. I
Good.
appreciate when professors and TAs remember that we're all trying to survive this pandemic, and you bombarding students to get an assignment done on top of everything else that is going on, because we don't know people's personal
Yeah.
lives
Yeah.
outside of the time when you see them online for class. You don't know what people are going through at home,
Yep.
and the added stress, it doesn't help, because that's saying that you don't care about the students' lives outside of school, which is not
Exactly.
okay.
Good. So that is nice to hear that some TAs and professors are sympathetic. School is challenging enough. I can't imagine school during a pandemic and having to work online all the time. So what is your self-care tips, or what advice do you have for your colleagues or any other students currently in school? How do you balance? What do you do to de-stress?
I'm still figuring that out. I don't know if somebody has an answer. I would
Yeah.
appreciate it. But my thing is, I'm going to sleep.
Good.
If anything is getting too much for me, that's a defense mechanism. I'll just be like, you know what? Let's put this down and go and have a nap. And that really works for me, because whether I go to sleep or not, the work is still going to be there. So might as well, instead of me stressing or worrying, I have a nap for an hour. I can't sleep for more than an hour anymore. I used to have a nap for like 2 hours. Now those days are over. Like I have a nap for an hour and I get up back and I'm more calm and in a better state of mind to approach whatever task that I have to do. I like to sing, so like sometimes I'll just watch videos of people singing
Yeah.
on YouTube, or I have a chat with my mom and my dad and say, hey mom, hey dad, this is going on, I'm feeling stressed, and they try to help, sometimes parents give advice that's not necessarily for the situation where you're like, okay, I'll take it. As long as you were listening, that's fine.
That's right. And sometimes that's all you need. You need to be able to express yourself and just know that somebody's listening. And I would like to agree, 2 hours is not a nap, that's sleep. 2 hours is
Yeah,
sleep.
I can't do a 2 hour nap. I used to be so good with sleeping, and now I have an alarm in my brain like, no, you can't sleep for an extended period. Even when school was over, the
Yeah.
first week, when after the 23rd of April, when school was done for me, I could not sleep for more than an hour because my body was used to me being on guard. Oh my God, I can't sleep for so long.
Right. And you're preparing yourself for your future career as a surgeon. Who knows how much sleep they're getting and what kind of shifts they're working. But I'm glad
Yeah,
that
I
you
know.
have, you're preparing yourself. But I'm glad that you have outlets. So it sounds like some of the ways you deal with stress, and which is great advice for your fellow students and all students paying attention right now, is when you're studying, take breaks. Your body needs to rest. When you sleep, your body is repairing itself. So don't all-nighters. We used to do that back in the day. Not a good idea. You need to sleep, you need to rest, your body needs to repair. And it sounds like you also are getting some good advice from your parents and having an opportunity to reach out and connect. Imagine if you were a student and you were home alone, you're away from your family, you're away from your classmates. You need to be able to connect. Human interaction is so important. So it sounds like you're on the right track when it comes to some self-care. What about your diet? Have you made any changes to your diet? Anything in terms of self-care you want to talk about there, and any physical exercise? Now the weather is getting warmer, Amanda. The snow is
Yeah, no,
gone.
I don't have
Winter
any
is
excuse
done.
now. Yeah, no, I don't have an excuse as to not exercising.
Yeah.
My thing is I'm a good starter and I have good intentions, which is why I'm kind of worried about me being a surgeon thing, because I know I'm well intended, but I need to be a better finisher. So like I'll start exercising and it will be good, and then just one day I will forget, like, oh my God, I forgot to exercise today. And then the next day I forget again. And it's like, I'm okay. And it doesn't help that I'm very petite and I know I'm not gaining, I don't gain weight. My body doesn't know what that is. So it doesn't help that because of my metabolism, like I know my body, I take it for granted sometimes. And I'm like, I need to stop this because when the 30s come, I'm going to want my body to be exactly how it is now. So I'm trying, to get into a routine. I said I was going to start exercising like from 2 weeks ago and I haven't. So I probably really should go for a run. It's nice out. I can go for a walk around my block.
And just start small. If you're not a
Yeah.
runner, you don't need to start running. You just need to start small. And I believe in progress over perfection. You just need to start, put your shoes on, go outside, walk around the block. Go for a 10-minute walk. If you miss a day, the next day, go for a 15-minute walk. It's a good way to break up the routine. It's a good way to change your posture. A lot of us are hunched over and either in front of a device, a tablet or a computer. Taking a break, going for a walk, swinging your arms, inhaling some fresh air, good for our lungs, good for our eyes, good for our whole body, get the blood circulating. So I would encourage you to incorporate some small little walks. You don't have to run. You don't need to go for hours. A 10-minute walk is a good start. So let's talk about food. Food is one of my favorite topics. What are you doing in terms of your nutrition? Has anything changed either during the pandemic or as a result of it in terms of what you're doing for self-care?
Food, I love food as well.
Yeah.
Um, my diet has certainly changed. Before the
For the
pandemic, I
better
was
or for the
very
worse?
for the better. I've been
Okay.
very conscious of the fact that I never used to eat vegetables all the time because I just didn't like the taste. And my dad always used to say, Amanda, it's not the taste, it's the benefit of what you're eating. So my diet used to be mostly starch and carbs. No, not so much starch. I've incorporated eating vegetables. My mom recommends that all of us at least eat 2 fruits a day, a banana and something else. So I've been incorporating more fruits and vegetables into my diet. I looked at my plate on Sunday and I was like, who is this person? I don't recognize who this person is.
Was this Sunday dinner?
Yeah, for Sunday dinner.
Okay, tell me,
I
what was on
had
this plate?
the plate was brown rice and peas,
Yep,
vegetable raw vegetables, so it was carrots
yep,
and lettuce and a piece of pork. And I'm like, my plate, it looks very not Amanda.
yeah,
I would prefer to eat, parboiled rice over brown rice, but brown rice is the healthier alternative.
yep,
And the amount of vegetables that were on my plate, I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but it's a good thing
yeah.
because, a lot of, especially in our community, like hypertension and diabetes runs rampant. And it prevention is better than cure. So
Absolutely.
any preventative measures that I can take now in my 20s will do me a world of good for the rest of my life.
Exactly. Your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s will thank you when you start changing your diet. I think it's all about small changes. You don't need to do a complete overhaul of the things you're eating in your kitchen or even your plate. So you talked about rice. Brown rice has more fiber. I know you said in our community. So typically, I'd say in the Black community, in the South Asian community, we eat a lot of starchy foods, a lot of rice.
Yeah.
Rice is all right in moderation. And if you're going to choose rice, I always advise my clients to take brown rice over white rice or a parboiled rice. It digests slower and it has more fiber. And then you talked about there were some vegetables on your plate. I heard you say carrots and some lettuce.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Hopefully your lettuce was like a dark green lettuce, like a
Yes,
romaine,
it
or you
was
had
very
some spinach,
green.
right? A better choice than, let's say, an iceberg lettuce. And it's so important to experiment. Try some radicchio, try some arugula, try lots of different things, lots of colors. And carrots, always look for vegetables with color. So you're like, I love the advice your parents are giving you. It's not, they said it's not about the taste. Not that carrots taste bad. It's about what the nourishment and the nutrients you're getting from the food. Carrots are great. Vitamin A, great for your eyes. We want to make sure we have lots of colorful foods on our plates. So some beets. And sometimes I've noticed with people, it's either the texture or it's the appearance of the vegetable or fruit on your plate. So one can chop up a carrot, or one can julienne a carrot, or cut them in very, very thin strips. It's the way the food is presented, just like beets. I love to eat beets. You can roast them, you can eat them raw, you can juice them, you can shred them, you can dice them, you can do all sorts of things. So changing the shape of your vegetable or your food sometimes makes it more palatable, or lightly steaming, putting it in the oven, braising it, or eating it raw. Now that the weather is getting warmer, I'm hoping that people are getting a lot more experience and a lot of experiments going on with their produce and their fruits. And then protein. So you talked about you had pork on your plate. So you had a nice plate. There's some protein, some good carbs, some fibrous carbs, and some vegetables. You need a good source of protein. And if you're plant-based, tofu, tempeh, beans, seitan. And if you are a meat eater, protein the size of your palm is enough protein that will keep you satisfied and keep your blood sugar balanced. So it sounds like your Sunday dinner was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. I can't admit this to my mom, but
Okay, we
it
won't
was
tell
good
her. She's not
because
watching. We
I
won't tell her.
was
Mrs.
not
Thomas?
for the brown rice. Yeah, let's not
Yeah, we won't
let's
tell
not
Mrs.
tell
Thomas.
her.
Okay, and then so what do you drink? So what are students doing when they're studying? Are you staying hydrated? Are you like, I remember, and I will admit this to the world, when I was in school, I would drink a lot of Mountain Dew. I don't mean like a little bit. I mean, when it was time for an exam, it was me and somebody go get me a bottle of Mountain Dew. And then as you progress, it became coffee. And to this day, it still is coffee. But you need to make sure that you're hydrated. So aspiring future surgeon, what are you drinking? How do you stay hydrated during the day?
Again, can't admit this to my mom because I hated tea. But
Yeah.
now I'm drinking like 4 cups of tea. I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
If it's not tea, I'll have water.
Okay.
I
Good.
don't drink juice a lot anymore or
Good.
soda. Like I don't know who this person is. I don't remember the last time I had a can of soda or a bottle of soda. It's been a long time.
Good. Keep it that way. You don't need it. it spikes your blood sugar way too high in sugar, robs your body of important nutrients, some phosphorus, and all the important minerals you need in your bones. Water is always your best choice. And if you need to do something to jazz it up, I wasn't a big water drinker either. I need to jazz up my water. So basil, putting a leaf of basil in your water and just let it steep for a little bit. Or for anybody who has diabetes issues, I always tell them to steep some cinnamon. So it's like you're making tea. Boil the water, put a cinnamon stick in it, put it in the fridge, let it cool down. That's your iced cinnamon tea. Great to help you regulate your blood sugar. Or like a slice of lemon, a slice of lime. Put something in your water to jazz it up if that's what you need. So that sounds like you're on the right track. So what kind of tea are you drinking? So tea is something that was big in my house. My mom can drink tea. My mom and dad could drink tea all day and all night. What type of tea are you drinking?
I I don't even know the tea bag. I think it's from Tetley. It has lemon in there, zinc,
Okay, good.
fennel, ginger,
Nice.
mint. It's a blend. It's really nice. It's from Tetley, and there's one from President's Choice, and there's this other tea that my mom bought. I didn't know it was just for her, but I like it, so I'm gonna drink it. I think
Good.
it's called Sleepy Time. I think
Okay, good.
I don't know what it has in there, but it's really good. Like, I don't know who this person is drinking all this tea.
That's good. This is the future surgeon, Amanda. She's blossoming. That's good. Tea is
Yeah.
excellent. As long as you're not putting anything in it. Are you putting anything in it to sweeten it?
I used to put a lot of sugar, but I'm cutting down on how much sugar I use. So now it's like a half teaspoon of
Okay, good.
sugar.
Good. Tea is great. What you just described that was in your tea sounds like there's lots of antioxidants and lots of ingredients that will either support your immune system or just help to nourish your body. So I encourage everyone to explore different teas. Next time you're at the grocery store or the bulk food store or wherever it is you're shopping, check out your tea section. There's such a wide variety of different types of tea you can have with different types of therapeutic benefits. So Amanda was just talking about tea. I think it's called Sleepy Time tea. There are certain herbs that you can infuse that will help bring some calmness. There are certain herbs you can use that help regulate your blood sugar. There are certain herbs that will give you more energy and that get up and go. So experiment with different brands of tea, different types of tea. Try loose leaf. Try steeping your tea with boiling water, then letting it cool and then putting it in the fridge. That is a great way to replace juice. There's a lot of sugar in juice or in soda. We want to make sure we do everything possible to reduce the amount of inflammation in our body, which tends to happen if we have a high sugar diet. So avoiding and limiting any extra sugar you find in your diet through the form of a juice or a soda or any one of those fancy drinks that we tend to buy from time to time with
Bubble
whipped cream
tea.
and all that that stuff. We don't want any of that stuff. All right, so let's go back to your exploration into medical school in the future. So why a pediatric surgeon?
Because my doctors, most of my experiences with doctors is because of my parents being able to afford healthcare. And my pediatricians were amazing, Dr. Melbourne Chambers and Dr. Harrison. And then as I got older, the other doctors that I saw, like just for regular checkups, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Alexis, and even my dentist, Dr. Francis. So I had a good community of doctors who were there to ensure that my health was paramount. So I had an amazing experience with all of my doctors. I looked forward to seeing them. They looked forward to seeing me. So, and who children spend time with in their formative years is key in developing who they are as an adult. So you can't have children who need help with people who are not compassionate and mean-spirited. Children, in order to foster good health, children need good people around them. And I would like to think I'm a compassionate person and I'm empathetic. And that's the kind of care that children are going to need if and when they get sick. Not somebody who just sees them as another zero to add to their paychecks or another patient to see to meet their daily quota.
Right.
For me, it's more than that because I was never just another patient for my doctors, and that's important to me. If you feel good by who you're being taken care of, then you will be well as well.
I agree. That's great. So you just talked about compassion and empathy. What other traits or characteristics do you think make a great physician or make a great surgeon, a great doctor?
Attention to detail is one, patience, in addition to compassion and empathy. And I think most of all, you have to love people. You can be a physician because of the thrill of surgery and cutting. I know that's a reason why some people become doctors, but I think the doctors with the best outcomes and the best patients are those that actually have a love for people and genuinely want to help and want to give back. So that's important.
Okay, good. I want to ask you a question about the pandemic. So, according to Statistics Canada, the Black community, racialized communities, marginalized communities have been disproportionately impacted and affected by the pandemic. In your opinion, why do you think that people like you and me, people who look like you and me, have had a harder time with the pandemic?
That's funny because that was a question on my health exam.
Okay, good. Give me your answer.
So the reason why especially the Black community and racialized communities are severely affected by the pandemic is because racialized communities are the persons that make up majority of the important people that you have to work every day. So look at who works in the factories, look at who works in your hospitals, look at who works as PSWs and janitors. In hospitals, they're Black people and mostly racialized people. Since I've been here, most of the doctors that I've interacted with have been people who identify as bi indigenous, Black, indigenous, or some other group identified in the group of people of color. Mostly these people, mostly minorities, work in these healthcare systems, and they're the people that go out every day. And also, people who are racialized tend to live more in communal living. So they live with their parents and their grandparents, and they believe that family is not just the mom and the dad and the kids. They believe that family encompasses grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins. So these people usually live in larger homes as well. So if one person in that home gets sick and they live with 7 other people, then the risk of 7 other people getting sick is highly likely. And they normally live in smaller houses because they can't afford to live anywhere else. So it's not just a healthcare issue. It's bigger than healthcare. It's called social determinants of health, where the things in your environment affect your health. So where you live, where you work, the type of job you work, how many jobs you have to work to provide for your family.
Yep. Your
And all
income.
of these things play a part into why racialized groups are severely affected and are more likely to be affected by COVID than people who don't identify as racialized communities. So it's not necessarily, or it's not only just a health issue, but it's because the people that are essential workers are racialized people. So how are we going to curb this? Racialized people make up majority of the workforce. So I'm not sure exactly how there's going to be a curbing of this if people had more time off from work when they're sick to actively recover, increasing the minimum wage so that people don't have to work more than one job to provide for themselves and for their families.
Yep.
Like all of those things play a part in the results that we're seeing every day.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with everything you just said. Racialized, marginalized communities are doing a lot of the essential frontline work. So exactly like you said, working in the factories, working in the warehouses. So as most people know, I live in the region of Peel. I live in Brampton, and unfortunately, our entire city of Brampton is considered to be in a hot zone. We have a lot of warehouses, we have a lot of factories, we have a lot of manufacturing plants. So unfortunately, like you said, there are a lot of multi-generational homes. There are lots of families sometimes living in one home. There's the grandparents, there's the working parents, there's the siblings, there are the grandparents. So everyone is working together, and unfortunately there's been a lot of spread in our region. These essential workers, and I had mentioned at the top of the show that it's nursing week. RNs, RPNs, PSWs are so essential to this pandemic. They're healing us, they're saving us, they're comforting us, they're taking care of us. They need more support. They need more time off. They need more pay. It's hard work. We will not make it through this pandemic without them. They are essential to keeping us going, and I'm happy to celebrate and salute them during Nurses Week because they're so important, and I'm grateful for all the work that they're doing. I wanted to ask you a question about vaccine hesitancy. So again, statistics show that in racialized, marginalized communities, there's a lot of hesitancy. There are people who are afraid of taking the vaccine, or people who are skeptical or mistrust. What is your opinion on that?
My opinion on that, it's so sad. It's so sad that there's a lot of mistrust, and the only reason why there is so much mistrust is because of misinformation. I think we live in an environment where people are so quick to distribute and disseminate false information without themselves doing the research. And we will never combat this fear unless people actively take the time to do work. And I think the issue is that people have already made up their minds. And when someone chooses to be willfully ignorant, that's the worst kind of ignorance, because people who genuinely don't know are open to change. If you decide that you're never going to change, then you're never going to change. And there's nothing that anyone can say to you to change unless you come to that actualization on your own. So there's a lot of mistrust, there's a lot of false information that is being perpetuated about the vaccine, saying things like it's going to be implanting a microchip or something to do with 5G. And I'm like, people, we are able to use common sense. If an air bubble, when it goes through a syringe, can kill you, imagine a microchip. How is a microchip going to fit through the syringe? Let us know in the comments, please.
Right. So I think you called it willful ignorance. So it is our job to do our part to keep our community safe. I encourage everyone to visit the municipal websites, the public health websites, the federal websites, to make sure that you are up to speed and have a good sense of what the steps are, or just to get all the information. Please, social media is for fun and enjoyment and entertainment, but it's not for factual information. If you need real medical information, visit the websites of the medical professionals, reach out to your family physician, visit the Public Health Agency of Canada's website for more information, or contact someone in your municipality. Or if you have a future doctor friend like Amanda, reach out to her to get more information, because it's so important. We are month 14, month 15 in this lockdown. The sooner we can stay compliant, follow all the rules and regulations, the sooner we will be able to get back to normal. I was watching TV, I think it was 2 days ago, and I see them in Spain having they're celebrating. They're free. 6 months in their lockdown, they're out. That's going to be us too. We're just not there yet. We need to make sure we are following all of the rules, procedures, and protocols, washing your hands, keeping the proper amount of distance, only leaving home if it's essential. You need to go to the pharmacy, you need to go to the grocery store, making sure that you are doing your part. You're wearing your mask, you are getting your vaccine. We want to make sure we get back to normal as soon as possible. Wouldn't you agree, Amanda?
I am waiting for the day that I can go on a plane
I
to
know.
somewhere that is outside of this country. And you're right, all of us need to do our part. If people have any questions about the vaccine, the government has websites with so much information that is available for free.
Yeah.
There's so much information available about the vaccine. And if people really have questions and concern, you would do your due diligence and go do your research. The vaccines are safe. Everybody in Canada has to be vaccinated in order to go to school.
Yeah,
So I don't understand where so many anti-vaxxers have come from. But everybody in this country needs to be vaccinated before you're able to go to school. And that's a norm for a lot of countries in the world. As I was watching the Vax Live concert that Global Citizen put on the weekend, and they were talking about the misinformation about the vaccine and the genome that we're using to reproduce the vaccine. It was discovered in 2003, I think they said, because work has been done over the years about vaccine reproduction and distribution. We're in 2020 now. We have access to so much technology, so much information, people have so much money at their disposal in order to reproduce a vaccine in a timely manner. We don't have 10 years to wait for the production of a vaccine. In 10 years, how many people would have died? This vaccine has already claimed so many people's lives. Not the vaccine, the virus, sorry. The virus has already claimed so many people's lives. I had a family friend who died from corona, and it doesn't feel real. So many people are losing family members. So if the vaccine is available to you, please take it.
And we'll leave it on that. If the vaccine is available to you, please take it. Amanda Thomas, it was such a pleasure speaking with you. I'm so happy that we've met, and I wish you all of the success in the future. You're going to be a fantastic surgeon. And I want you to know that in March 11th, 2021 was the first ever Canadian Women's Physicians Day. Every March 11th from now on, I will think of you, our future surgeon. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge, and I wish you all of the best in the future. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today on 360 Wellness. Visit our website at www.gbkm.fm. Download our app on iOS and Android. Let's keep this conversation going. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our hashtag is GBKM Network. And remember, you are only one decision away from a totally different life. 360 Wellness, empowering you on your wellness journey. See you next time.
This is not your regular show. It is an interactive section powered by the masses.
You go to Nigeria, you wake up, you go come. I just said now, I don't go to Nigeria.
Where we discuss issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. Slices of humor to keep you entertained and thrilled. We are the GBKM Street Talk Team. This